Hello and welcome. Now, from my end, it is saying that I'm live. So, hello, Sarah. How are you, darling?
Hello, Kay, and hello, everybody.
And I'm just going to look to see if I can see us on my Facebook page.
Awesome.
I'm not quite sure. So anyway, Sarah and I have jumped on it's not showing on my Facebook page, but it might be showing on YouTube, hopefully. I'll just try it again and have a look. Oh, yes, we are live. Yay.
Great.
So, welcome, because I'm just, sorry about all this disjointed beginning, but StreamYard, the platform I use to stream our lives into, there's been a lot of changes behind the scene. And not necessarily do we know whether things are working. So I'm just going to go, so when you join us, there you go. So now I might be able to share this into our oil wisdom group. Would you like to tell us what we're going to talk about today? Will I just do that?
Yes, we're going to share some experiences today about how life is. Just share some experiences around our lives with, being busy mums, I guess. Busy mums who look after their children and work. And maybe give some tips along the way and talk about sorry, Kay, you go.
Or women who aren't working but know that they'd like to go back to the workforce, to support their family, and you kind of think, how can I do it? I'm already juggling so many balls, or I'm feeling overwhelmed, or whatever. Sarah and I've both been single mums, and we've had to juggle the dance of life, supporting our children on our own and also supporting ourselves financially. So we're coming to you from the point of view of we've experienced this situation. So how many children have you got, Sarah, that you are looking after?
I have 3 children. I look after one part-time because he's now 17 and he's got his own job, but I'm still a part of his life because we're never ever away from our children, doesn't matter how old they are. And I have 2 other beautiful children. One is disabled, so he takes up a lot of work, takes up a lot of time, I guess. And a beautiful girl who also does take up a lot of time.
It's all verbally vocal.
I've found that girls are very different to boys. Let's just put it that way.
And I've survived 4 beautiful girls. So yes, they are very different. And I do have a stepson as well. But yes, the dance of motherhood is very demanding, and I believe all mothers want to do the best for their children in the best way they can, and we put very, very high expectations on ourselves. And when we are, particularly if we are playing the role of the mother and the father, that puts on a huge responsibility, and all the emotions that go alongside our single parenting roles. What sort of emotions can you think it might have put you through, Sarah? What can you think of?
Yes, I can think of a few. Okay, guilt being one.
Yes.
Yeah, yep. Guilt. Sometimes shame, when we're not giving them enough and we get overwhelmed, and then become ashamed of ourselves.
Yep.
Because we've maybe spoken a little bit too loudly.
Yes.
The way that we've spoken to them. Obviously, there's that fear that comes in that we're not doing enough. for them.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
And grief from for me, it was the grief of the fragility of the family unit that wasn't happening, that was happening, the family unit. But when you're on your own, you've got grief. I can remember one of my feelings was I just want to bring that family back into a unit again, which is pretty much impossible. But you just want to go back to it. Like I remember one of my friends said to me, it's like, it's like an eggshell that's all been fractured and you just want to put it all back whole after a family breakdown. And we've got the lovely Jess Miller saying, hello. Hi, Jess.
Thanks. Just on a word of grief too, Kay, I actually probably didn't so much have the same grief that you had there, but I had grief around my child with disability because I couldn't actually take him places and do the things with him that I could with my other two children.
Yes. Yes. And for you, I mean, I see you, I watch you, I'm with you often, and I think it can be a situation where, well, actually that's not going to work for me because I've got Zach, and because he's in a wheelchair, it makes things complicated. So there are actually even events you choose not to attend because you realise that that's going to put more stress on you. So you have to change your activities, which if I was the mum, I'd be thinking, well, that's really affecting the other two because of, the pressures and the responsibilities with Zach. It makes life tricky for the other two as well.
Yeah, so I've also had a lot of grief around that side. I guess like my oldest, he's 17, as I was saying. He has, pretty much lived with Zach a lot of his time, and I always felt grief for the life that he kind of missed out on because everything was all about Zach. Yeah. So, and I didn't sort of realise what I was doing to him until a bit later in life when I kind of changed. I really went out of my way to change how I worded things. Yeah, and also I suppose we started to get a lot more help in the end, so that sort of helped as well. So
yeah, and I noticed what you'll do is because you do get respite, that you will, if something comes up, you'll book some respite in, which means your other two can still experience life. Zach's been looked after, and the other two can have you for those dedicated moments. Something else I've noticed about you is that you've made some big decisions this year and probably in the last few months about how you spend your time and what you do. So would you like to share some of those things some of the changes you've made?
Oh, wow. Some of the changes that I've made a lot of changes, Kay.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, you put me on the spot. I'm trying to think what changes.
Well, I can think of one. I can get the ball rolling. And one is that you've made a decision when the kids come home from school, or there are certain times where you will this is the family time. This is not the time to be working on my business. So, and I think we're really talking to people here about, making priorities of what you're doing with your time. So I'll let you roll.
Yeah.
Take that
on. So last year, I guess I was spending a lot of time on my business because it's sort of just getting up off the ground. And I found that I was working too much around my children. I would just take little bits of time out of their time, I guess, to work when they were home, which sort of, it wasn't working basically. So now what I do is I will work for an hour in the morning before they get up, and then stop. I'll go and do all the household chores when they're getting ready for school, and just be there for them as well in their getting ready for school.
Yes.
And then I will come home, and sometimes I'll actually go to gym and have a little bit of time for myself as well in the morning. And then back into work for a few hours. And I mean, I've found the way that I work well, I guess. So I work well in hour stints rather than working, 3 or 4 hours. And I find that now that I've found the way that I work for me, I'm able to get more done.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So you set a clock, you set an alarm, and you say, right, I need to get better at that. Yes.
Yeah. And so then, well, I don't actually set an alarm because I usually find that after a while my brain goes, oh, I've had enough of this. It's time to stop, So that's that hour done. But what actually, and it's quite interesting because then you go off and you do something else that needs to be done around the house, and that gets done as well. But then when they come home from school, we've also set a bit of a limit in this house around phones.
Yes.
Our phone time. So my daughter's allowed to be on her devices 1 hour a day after school. So I will take that time to do a bit of work then. But then the rest of the time, it's for my children, basically, until they go to bed again. And then I might have another little go before bed. A bit more work before bed. So that's how I manage it, and it works. I'm finding it's really working well. There was a time in my life where I certainly didn't have a business or anything like that, and I would actually not get anything done. I wouldn't get the washing folded. I wouldn't vacuum floors. I was sort of in this space where I was just not feeling great. But and things have really changed.
Yes, because you've taken charge of your, like it's really around time management, I think. And I've noticed that you do seem more in control of what's happening. You don't seem so flustered. We were before we jumped on, and we were having a bit of a talk, and Sarah reminded me of times that I went through when I had my children full time, 24/7. There was no father involved, no, sending them off weekends and things like that. But if they did go out for a couple of hours or go somewhere, I remember thinking, oh, I'm going to get this done and that done and whatever else done. But I wouldn't. I'd sit down on the couch and I'd be comatose. And you were talking about that before. There are times where you just, well, this is for me in the past and for you in the past now, or maybe it might still come up on occasions, but you think, right, the kids are gone, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever, all these lists of things you think you might do, but you end up just because it's like, oh, once you sit down and you let go, you realize that you're actually, you've been juggling all these balls, and then you come to a standstill, and you actually come to a serious standstill, and you can't necessarily achieve what you want. So I think that time management and boundaries around your time, and even making sure when you are with your children, you give them the quality time. So some of these are, well, actually most of my children were brought up pre-mobile phone times. So I didn't have that pressure, but you still had other pressures on you that, for me, I was their 24/7, their only carer. So when something happened, or when they were all off to school, it would take you days sometimes just to recharge your energy. And I look back now and think, well, what could I have done better? And particularly watching you going, this is not working for me, so what am I going to do about it? And that is the important thing, isn't it? That we take steps, recognize we're in overwhelm. Jess Miller has made a comment. Navigating life with emotional intelligence is challenging at times, which is really what we're looking at doing. Staying in sovereignty while allowing others to be in their sovereignty is one of my missions at the moment. Now, that's a great mission to have. And I know Jess is also, she's been a single mum, and she's had 4 kids too, and she's had times where she's got to juggle and still juggling some of the children that aren't fully independent, although they're teenagers. So it is something that is ongoing. And even today I was debriefing my daughter with situations with my grandchildren. So parenting is really a lifelong journey that we embark on. And I think we don't fully understand the responsibility and what it takes to bring up children until we're thrown in at the deep end, of course, and experience life, a family life, and what's really going on. I don't think we get enough support or enough training. Even did what prepared us for parenthood or for motherhood?
There was no preparation on my side.
That's right. Although I guess these days, my children all they're more likely to listen to podcasts when they've got something going on. They will jump on, they'll find someone that inspires them. I think those things are much more available. And hey, we've got a Christine saying evening. Hello, darling. Where are you tuning in from? Thank you for saying hello. Yeah, so it is something, and also I think one of the big things that happens to single parents is how isolated we become. And I recall someone saying to me when I had all my children, they were all young, and I'm juggling everything. And someone said, when the children are young, that's some of your loneliest times of your life. And that's because we're home alone with our children and, potentially feeling stuck. Once again, I think that's a little bit different now due to social media. Having, we can get on social media, we can watch, even though our kids might be playing around us. Or I think these days, some of those issues, the load's lightened, but there's nothing like that in-person friendship. That is such a valuable thing. So is there anything else you want to bring up before we start talking about one of our things that we're offering here? Oh, we've got UK in the house. Hey, you're warm enough over there.
So I just wanted to point out too, Kay, that although a lot of mums out there do have that Facebook, they've got that Facebook. Yeah, there still is nothing like, a real friend that's sitting in front of you. Because during my time, I guess, I had friends, I guess, but they weren't in the same situation as me.
Oh, yes, how isolating. Yes.
Yeah, it was very isolating because they were all off doing their things, whereas I had a very different life.
Mm.
And although they would invite me and I would go, it would still feel very isolating.
Yep.
It still felt very isolating. So, yeah, it's
I can remember
to know.
I can remember going through stages where I felt, and it was probably because, I've been separated for, like, my youngest is in there. She's 33. So for me, I'm talking about in times gone by when I was the only one in my group that had separated. I think, the numbers of separation these days is extremely high, but I gravitated towards other single mums because I felt like we were in, we had that similarity. And my initial reaction was, oh, yeah, well, I'll be going to school and, the mums and the dads go to the assembly, or the mums and the dads get involved. Whereas for me, I felt like I was a single mum, and it was very, very isolating. And, no one really knows what you're going through till you go through your own personal traumas anyway, because it's different for each and every one of us. But it's a challenge, no matter who you are and what you're doing. And for me, I designed my life around relief teaching, so I wasn't necessarily working 5 days a week because that was my choice. I wanted to be home with my children, but I knew as time went on, I didn't want to be full-time. And somewhere along the journey, I discovered Young Living, which is, my business that has helped to give me options. And for you, you're creating your sound healing and you're working with Young Living as well. So you've got some things that you like that you're pulling towards you. And I know you're in a situation where you are doing some work that you're not so excited about, and you are setting yourself up for success and independence. So do you want to talk a little bit around that?
Yeah, so I started working for myself so I could be there for my children, I guess. I didn't want to. I'd always been a stay-at-home mum, I guess, except for three or 4 years ago, I wasn't. My parents were helping look after the children while I was at work, but I moved up to 2 hours away from them, so I never had any family or anything to help. So I had to do all my work within school hours. And then, so I took on some cleaning work, but I don't enjoy cleaning. I don't know many people that do. So at the moment, I'm trying to, I just take on what I have to with cleaning, and I am putting a lot of energy into, well, not a lot of energy, all the energy that I can to improve my business, sound healing wise, coaching, guidance. So, I can have a better life, I guess, and become, have that sense. It gives me the sense of purpose, as well as a financial freedom.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about you. You find there's a gap in your life or areas in your life. Oh, don't know what that was. Something's a bit noisy. You find an area in your life that you want to change and, enhance the experience for you and all your family, and you take action. So,
yeah.
So I'm going to move over to our retreat because Sarah and I are making available a retreat that's relatively affordable. It's a couple of days at Rocky Cape, nestled near the National Park in a beautiful area in Tasmania. And it is all around bringing balance into your life so that you become, more centered, so that you can get your masculine and your feminine energy within you, working for you rather than against you. And we are going to be offering workshops, experiences, a bit of time with other like-minded people. So you'll get to meet people, you'll get to do some beautiful workshops that are going to help you fill your cup and bring a whole lot more balance back into your life. We are providing beautiful, nutritious food. Sarah's got some great recipes that she's working on to make sure you're all nourished and looked after. And what else have I missed in the retreat? You might like to flesh that out.
Some essential oil, sort of, I suppose, solutions to, helping you through your day. There's workshops. Did you mention that, Kay? We've got so much. It's, we've got cacao. We've got a cacao ceremony. Sound. We've got a sound healing.
Yoga.
Very creative. Our artwork.
Yes. And yoga.
Okay, there's so much, but you can. Sorry, what was that?
Yoga.
Oh yes, yoga. Yes, we've got yoga with the lovely Sarah Cook. So she's going to come and do some yoga with us, which will be great on Saturday morning. And we've got goodie bags. But it's just going to be a fantastic time where we all teach you and then look to embody the concept of balance, of a balanced lifestyle. So you're all getting that you know, so when you leave, you can actually take these strategies home with you, you know, to use them in your own life.
Yeah. So you will go home feeling nourished. Your bucket, your tank will be full, and you'll go home feeling nourished, and you go home with some fresh ideas and fresh incentives, and some fresh ideas about how to support yourself through the journey of life, so that you can feel more in control, more in tune, happier, freer, and filled with effervescence. Is that the word? Is that how you say that?
Effervescence? Effervescence, is it? No, I don't know.
We'll be effervescing. So we're going to have lots of fun. That's the other part. We are going to have lots of fun. We're going to have a light-hearted, supportive, interactive weekend where you will meet some beautiful people. You'll create some lifelong friends, and you know that friendship is so important. Now, Sarah and I have known each other a bit over a year, about a year and a half now, maybe, and we are fortunate because we both clicked with each other. Probably both being Leos, but we clicked with each other, and personally, it's made a big difference in my life to have a really close friend who lives nearby. So if you are feeling any of those feels, like what did Jess also said, the loneliness of being in a toxic relationship is very hard too. I've had that. And in a way, living lonely and single was a relief. I wish I had a better village of in-person support. Absolutely. Absolutely. And she says, sounds like it will be a beautiful connection to a wonderful community. This will last a lifetime. Absolutely. So it's in a beautiful setting at Rocky Cape, and it's a cabin style retreat where you will be sharing with someone else. If you don't want to share, you could probably just double the price of your accommodation, which isn't overly expensive anyway, if you did want a cabin to yourself. But anyway, what we want you to do is contact Jess. Contact Jess. Talk her into coming down to Tassie. Contact Sarah. Contact myself. I will put a link in the video once this is finished. We'll add some links so that you can contact us to find out more about it. And is there anything else that we haven't covered, Jess? Sarah?
Well, look, I'm a bit lost at the moment because, you know, I'm trying to think of all this stuff that we've got planned, but we've got so much of it that, you know,
yes.
I get so excited and it just sort of gets stuck. Like, yeah. But yeah, there are certainly things we haven't spoken about that will be involved in the retreat. But yeah, it's going to be so much fun. We're not going to make this a big I mean, there will be moments of seriousness, but a lot of it will be lighthearted, like Kay said. So yeah,
it'll be very nurturing.
Very nurturing, and looking forward to meeting everybody, spending some time and hearing your stories about your life around balance and how you may not be so balanced or you want to get back into balance. And yeah, it really will be good.
Fantastic. So keep an eye on Sarah and I. Jess has done a comment. Yes, Jess, that's right, Jean. Sounds like she's meant to go. I'd love to, except she has a full schedule. One day she won't. We might have to book her way ahead of time. And Jess could, when we get these up and running, Jess, we'll have you down as one of the facilitators to help run this as well. So keep an eye. We're going to do some of these lives. We're going to keep this conversation going. So thank you for joining us, and we are planning to go live daily to get some excitement about this and to let people know what is going on. And yes, Jean, one day she'll visit Australia. Awesome. We look forward to that as well. You are one of our active people who love connecting with us. So thank you everyone for your time. Please share this out if you know anyone who would be interested in coming to Rocky Cape to our Tasmania retreat. We would love to have you or your friends come and join us. So thanks Sarah. So good to have you here, and yeah, I'm pretty excited about where this is all headed. So
Yes. Thanks, Kay, for having me. And yes, I am very excited too, and can't wait to do this. So yes, I'll see you tomorrow.
you certainly will.
Thank you,
Cheerio.
everybody.
Yeah, thanks for your interaction. Lovely. Bye.
Bye.